video now, I'm going to start showing you how fast we can actually get a print table built and how easy it is now that we've removed the need to do the drilling for the legs and passing the wires through. I'll just show you, this is the one of the supports that's currently on the instructor board, so you can see we've got this lip here all the way around the hedge, and that's what we want to do with in order to be able to close it up nicely. But the other thing is you had to print out individual one of these depending on what corner it went into. The beauty of the new design is not only for the cam lock or the quick locking, but also they are totally universal. So just to show you there, on this one we've inserted the two cams already, now just inserted in, just pushed in, and we've got the two locking screws ready to lock onto the rods, so they've been put into position. So I've done some preparation on some of the parts. Incidentally now, on these, and I'll show you on this one, I've left this one out on purpose, is there's no re-drilling or re-threading of these. So I've honed in a little bit now on the STL design, so on the design of the part, to really make it the position better so we can get a good fit. So for this, obviously we're going to use the M3 screw. I'm just going to show you what we need to do now. Is you have to put a little bit of pressure on and thread that in. Now what we need is the heat of it as it's going in is going to help melt the plastic, help form the plastic around making a nice thread. Just push that through. Put a little bit more pressure on there. Now the important part is once you've done it, once you've put the screw in, leave it to cool down. What's happened is that bit of friction as we're driving the bolt through is actually melted some of the plastic. And what that's going to do now is it's going to make sure that it forms nicely around the thread. So we'll just leave that to cool down a little bit. We've made sure it's gone all the way. If you follow the video still so you can get a good understanding of how to build the print table, yeah, and then come back to this one to see how much more simpler it is. So essentially, we've got the top, and we've cut out the top ready. That's following the 55mm all the way around the edge, draw the line, and then cut that all the way through. And in the existing holes, which were already there when the table's made, we've inserted the cam dowels. Now these cam dowels are 24mm cam dowels. Basically from the top to the bottom before the thread is 24mm. So those are the ones we're going to be using. And just to show you on there, this is the hole that's already been done. So we'll just grab the screwdriver and just screw that in, so that's nice and tight. Okay, that's had some time now to cool down, so we'll just put that out. And then there will be a little bit of burr left in there, so we'll just grab a drill and just clean off the bit of plastic that's in there. That's ready. And the cam lock, like we say, pointing the arrow up towards the hole, we just push that into position, so that's nicely pushed in there. Okay, so that's the cam dowel now into position, so just to put it to one side for the moment. And now we're going to grab our x-axis, which drives along on the wire rods, and obviously the extruder printhead on the x-axis there. Okay, so what I've already done, this has already been assembled, the two pieces, put together with the Ingus bearings already inserted from the inside, and then it's closed up together. So I'm going to use this print head, which is the next prototype that's going on to this model anyway. This is the one that will be published. So what I'm going to do is that part there, which is where the motor is, that goes towards the bottom, making obviously the extruder head go towards, facing down towards the bottom as well. What I tend to do is because the motor is going to go towards the rear, so I always work, this is the front of me, facing me, and I want the extruder to be on that side. So I just position those, slide that on, then I get the other end, make sure that's driven and lined up correctly, push that on. So that's my x-axis. Now I don't need to do up them 2 grub screws yet because I've still got some adjustment to do when the Y rods go through. So now I position the Y rods through. So that essentially is the framework for the assembly of how the X and Y axis is going to go together. You can see there with my print head already on there. Now I've put this all together already, but if you take the screws out of here, then that comes off and you're just left with the bearing blocks. Okay, I'm just going to put that to one side. Let's put that up and just show you now ready for this. Okay, so there's our tabletop. Obviously we're upside down, so I'm going to grab that now and we're going to hold in the rods as steady as possible, just flick that over. Okay, and now we can start actually inserting the supports straight onto the rods themselves. So we just push those in. Same again, want it to be nice and tight. There is some adjustments in with them, so just make sure it's facing the right direction. So we always want the, just pull that forward to make sure I'm not out of camera shot on that. So we always want to make sure that this is facing on the inwards. Like I say, having a nice tight fitting is what we want. Leave that on there for a moment, I can stand there up, push one on the other side. Okay, and I'll just push that down. Now we'll need to move these anyway to get it all lined up. So now that I've got those positioned in, place that down with the extruder nozzle pointing upwards, just so I know I've got the right orientation. Okay, and then what I've got to do is line these onto the cam locks. And this is where I might need to do some pulling and adjusting. So, I mean, just pop that cam lock back into position. Okay, and just this last one here. A little bit more. Should be doing it now. So tight. It's what I want. Just a little bit more gentle persuasion and we're in. Clip that down, knock that down. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of force, but we want nice tight fitting. So just to show you on there now, so we've got our X-axis on there. We don't worry about the smoothness of the operation at the moment because obviously the rods haven't been tightened up yet, so we haven't made any adjustments on that yet. And the belts are obviously starting to make sure that that bit's pulled level, and then obviously that on the X-axis extruder. Those are in position, so using our screwdriver now we can lock the cams up. Okay, that's the cam locked. Now there is an additional hole in each of the supports if you want to put a locking screw in at any point, if you're worried about any twist or you want to make sure you get the movements. So there's no movement whatsoever. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the rigidity of the machine, what we're printing at the moment, and the quality of the prints, it doesn't require any sort of locking down as far as I'm concerned. But it's there as a precaution if you want to go full belt and braces on building the print table. Okay, so we can now see that from the way the orientation is, that these are the two y-axes which go either side. So either this front or this is the front. So we'll make our decision now. We'll get two of our Z-rods, position them into the corner there. Then using drill, we'll make sure it's just nicely pushed into the corner. Drill a hole, drill a hole. Same again. Drill a hole, drill a hole, and 4 screws. 2, 3, 4. Just need to get a screwdriver. Lock that down. Lock the other side down. These are just self-tapping screws that I'm using. Actually going into the IKEA hardboard, so don't really need anything too substantial. Now actually from this point here, in later videos we can continue to put the motors in, continue to feed the wiring system through, and continue to put the Y motor mount, which will now be on this end here, with all this in this position, making it really easy, really simple. And the next videos will obviously go on to explain that. But what I am going to do at this stage is I'm going to show you we're going to attach the legs onto it. So if we're going to opt for having a tabletop version, there is no need now to cut down these. You only need to cut those down if you're going to put the full leg version on, because by the time they're threaded in either end, they'll meet and you won't be able to get them fully tightened. So we have to shorten each one of those down in order for the cavity to take up the thread without them meeting. So all we've done is what we do on the previous videos that has been shown, is we drill a 5mm hole all the way through the pre-existing holes which are already on one of the tabletops, poke them so they come all the way through. But what I've also done, I've done this additional hole over on this side which is just ready for the screen cable to go through. It's just making it easy and simpler to get to whilst I'm just at the tabletop. And I've already pre-cut the hole for the motor mount. So And the Motormate now, it doesn't no need to print the longer version. We found that everything works perfectly fine just with the short frame. So we can clip that into position as well. So that's that clipped in nice and ready, and start just in turning in the 4 legs. I want to get these nice and tight and squared up, that's fine. Like I say, this really, the design is where all the time saving now comes into play, because we've got none of the drilling and the cutting through to feed the wires through, none of the fiddly bit of actually feeding the wires through either. Now, when the legs do come in the packaging, there's only the one hole on the one end of them, because obviously it's designed to be a table and it just screws into the tabletop. Obviously this is what we're doing, but upside down at the moment. So, what we need to do is drill another hole to be able to put the cam lots into these positions. But what will be included in the STLs is just a little template, and all we do is you just clip that over. It clips nicely over the leg, mark your circle, then you need a 5mm drill. So now that I've marked the hole using the drill, that's unusual because it felt like there was a bit more wood in the centre of that one. And then getting the cam down, we'll just swap screwdrivers there. Screw that in, lock that into position. And then the next thing we do is the same again with the Z-axis. We know this is the rear, so swap my drill out. Just position that into the corner. Make sure it's tight into the corner. Drill a hole. A hole. Pull all those through for that. Down nice and tight. So there we go. all 4 legs in position, all 4 cam lots, the Z motor housings there, and the Z rod housings as well. So what we can actually do to show all the frame assembled, line that up. Tap it down. You might find one of the cam lots might pop out. Problem, just find out which one it come from. And get the screwdriver and move around, locking them into position. Which one? That's nice and locked. Okay, and so there you have it. The frame now all in position. We can get our Z rods, feed them down the hole. I found that some of the Z rods hole fixings are very tight. So feed down the Z rods. Put them down. Okay, so that's the Z rods that are also now in position. So we have a complete lockdown frame. You can see how sturdy that is already. It's only held in by the cam lots, but everything now ready to accept. We can start squaring up, tightening up all the grub screws onto the rods themselves, and make any minor adjustments that we want. But that's how quick and simple it is now to assemble the print table frame. The next video I'll show you some of the details then on the wiring and how we go about setting up the Y-axis motor mounting. Thank you.